Places to go.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to a new episode of Places to Go, Plaisie's podcast. Today's topic is what makes Paris so wonderful. Strolling through a beautiful neighborhood, discovering pretty cafes, boutiques, elegant buildings, in between a place where you just want to stay, and those wow moments again and again. How beautiful it is here. Only Paris can do that. And that's exactly what we've got tips for today. As always with Places to Go, in under 10 minutes. The neighborhood we recommend to you in Paris is the Marais. I'm Paul from the Plaisie team, Plaisie. That stands for lazy planning, and you can have your very own personalized travel guide curated on plaisie.travel for a whole range of destinations. It's free, quick and fun, so just give it a try. Let's start in the Marais. As already mentioned, a neighborhood with a very special charm. The combination is simply very special. On the one hand, there are still a few bistros and manufactories here that look as if they've been around for decades. And at the same time, new shops, restaurants, and cafes open here every now and then. Especially in the Haute Marais, which is located between the Place de la République and the Picasso Museum. It's not quite the front row facing the Seine, but that's probably why there are so many small, special shops here. The rents aren't quite as high as in the rest of Paris. But you can also really say that the Marais has always been a neighborhood for people who wanted to make a new start, who wanted to reinvent themselves, or even had to. First, in the 13th century, aristocrats settled here in this neighborhood, which first had to be drained, as the name alone reveals, Marais, the marshes. But the nobles had made themselves quite at home here. Then came the French Revolution. They were expelled. Later, in the 19th century, many Jews who had been expelled from Eastern Europe settled here. In the 1960s, the Marais was actually supposed to be demolished, but the people here protested against it and ultimately prevailed. Et voilà. Today, it is one of the most exciting neighborhoods in the city. And here are 3 special places for eating, shopping, and sightseeing. Let's start with a great place to have lunch or dinner or a coffee. There really are a lot of options in the Marais, but today we would like to recommend Maison Plisson. No matter what you fancy, as long as it has something to do with French cuisine in the broadest sense, you'll find it here. The only problem could be, you'd have to decide what you fancy, because Maison Plisson isn't a cafe or restaurant or patisserie. It's all in one. In fact, everything you can try here, you can also buy at home. It is located here on Boulevard Beaumarchais, in a pretty building from 1900. Here you will find a small, fine market hall, and the restaurant in the same building also prepares its dishes from the very same ingredients. There's also a pinch of French savoir-vivre. For example, you can have a great brunch in the restaurant, and if you've booked a hotel without breakfast, the Maison Plisson is a great place for your first coffee of the day and a really good croissant. And then from there, into the Marais. Our second tip is just a stone's throw away from here. It's about a shopping location with the beautiful name Paris. It's a concept store and is located just a few minutes away from Maison Plisson, also directly on Boulevard Beaumarchais. Paris opened here in 2009, and you could say that it has upgraded the whole area. It's a real all-round shopping experience. There's fashion, furniture, accessories, stationery, beauty products, and watches. But it's not just about shopping. You also come here for a good coffee and a stroll. Paris also organizes promotions from time to time, almost like theme weeks, for example on cartoons. And then the whole area almost becomes an art spot. The story behind Paris is quite a beautiful one. The store was founded by Bernard and Marie-France Cohen, who both had a successful label for children's fashion called Bon Point. They sold this in 2007 and thought, now we want to make something new and good in both senses of the word. The two founded Paris as a charitable project, put a lot of their own money into it, and set up a foundation. They have supported and continue to support schools and educational projects in Madagascar. Although the Cohens have now left Paris, the charitable approach continues, not only in Madagascar, but also in France itself, for example. But don't think of a classic fair trade shop in your mind's eye. Paris is really big and really chic. 3 floors, glass roof. You can easily spend a few hours here. Savor it, but leave yourself some time for sightseeing, because we have another tip for you. So let's move on to culture. The place we recommend in the Marais is a little away from the really big highlights, although it is about one of the most famous Frenchmen of all. We are taking you to the home of Victor Hugo, It is located on one of the most beautiful squares, not just in the Marais, but in the whole of Paris, on Place des Vosges. This really large square place is one of the oldest in the city, laid out over 400 years ago, and inaugurated at a royal double wedding. 6 Place des Vosges, this is the address of the Maison de Victor Hugo. He left behind quite a number of great works. There are 9 novels and 9 dramas, plus quite a few poems and many essays. Every schoolchild in France knows him. You could say he is the Goethe of France. His best-known novel is Les Miserables, The Wretched, and of course, The Hunchback of Notre Dame, the great historical novel about the cathedral and Quasimodo. When Hugo wrote it, it was such a great success that he was able to move his family to this noble neighborhood where he lived with his wife and 4 children in a 280 square meter flat from 1832. So it was pretty luxurious. It didn't always stay that way. He later fell out with the powers that be and was then sent into exile on the island of Guernsey. Much of what surrounded him back then can be seen here in this museum today. Pieces of furniture, manuscripts, drawings. Other great French writers also came and went here. Alexandre Dumas, George Sand. Hugo had a real salon here on the Place des Vosges. He was also a really exciting guy. Changed his political positions several times, and he was already an excellent writer as a teenager. He was also secretly engaged to his schoolmate for years as a teenager. He married her when he was 20. But the marriage didn't last. So Hugo also experienced some ups and downs in his private life outside of literature. It really is a dense mix of history, culture, literature, but also 19th century glamour and drama that you can experience here. There are very good audio guides, and you can get inside this massive Hôtel de Rohan-Guémené, unlike most tourists on the Place des Vosges who look from the outside at these huge red walls that frame the square. So our tip, take the time for a rendezvous with Monsieur Hugo. We hope we've whetted your appetite for a stroll through the Marais. You can also listen to our episode on the Bourse de Commerce, an art venue that is definitely worth a visit in Paris for anyone with a taste for contemporary art. And, of course, take a look at plaisy.travel. There, you can have your personalized travel guides created for selected travel destinations in Germany. It's quick and easy, without any costs or downloads. So give it a try. Please also leave us a nice review. We look forward to hearing from you. Have a good trip, and see you next time at Places to Go.